Hey y'all, it's Necey Dixon. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, welcome. If you are returning, y'all, welcome back. It is the crack of dawn. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. It is literally 6:30 a.m. and I don't even wake up this early for work, but I wanted to wake up early because I owe y'all these episodes, and I think we need to have a conversation about Ready to Love and Love and Marriage Huntsville. You know, we missed Sunday brunch, so let's go ahead and talk about it on a Tuesday. So I hope y'all find this video enjoyable, whether you on the way to work, whether you cleaning up the house, or you watching at work, because I would love to see y'all in the chat sneaking on y'all's phone telling me what y'all think about these episodes, because like I always say, at this point, y'all, we're friends, okay? Especially for the people who don't like the long intros. We're friends, okay? Let me give y'all a short life update before we jump in, and I promise it's gonna be short. We are 108 days out from my wedding. Our wedding. Okay, I'm saying mine because y'all only know me. Our wedding. If y'all want to see my fiance, just go to my Instagram so y'all can see what we look like. But anyway, we're 108 days out from our wedding, and this weekend we spent a lot of time trying to get stuff done because 100 days is going to be over before we know it. So it's safe to say I'm anxious about preparing and making sure that it's the best event ever. And I just honestly can't wait until the day. But that's my life update, y'all. That's what I've been doing, okay? So, about these TV shows, in my opinion, Ready to Love was good. Love and Marriage Huntsville, I really didn't care for. Like, I don't really feel like that was the right way to end part 3. I feel like they probably got their parts mixed up. Like, honestly, I could care less what was going on between Wanda and Miss Val. Especially after we didn't talk about all the hot topics in part 1, especially after we didn't get no answers from Destiny in part 2. I'm just like, I don't know. I feel like I wish that it would end it a little bit differently. And then as far as Ready to Love, I know a lot of y'all is like, oh yeah, Necey, we've been waiting on you to read down Zadia. We've been waiting on you to talk about Zadia. Okay, y'all. I told y'all the editing was messed up. I have been waiting for a definitive moment for me to be like, yeah, Zadia is an effed up person. Yeah, Zadia is a bitch. Yeah, can't stand Zadia. And I feel like I can't argue that she's not a bitch. I can't. Because the whole time I was watching, well, hold on. Let me not get ahead of myself, okay? Let me not get ahead of myself because I can literally just have a conversation with y'all off rip and not go scene by scene. So y'all tell me what y'all think about this thumbnail. And before we get into the video, y'all know what to do. Go ahead, do me a favor and like this video. All right, y'all. So let me go ahead and get started because y'all know I could get ahead of myself talking about this show. So, Camille. Remember, y'all, Camille and Cornelius are having an elimination date, as well as Zadia and Naim, okay? Naim or whatever. Y'all give me a hot second. My allergies are tripping. It's early in the morning. Give me a quick second. 1 second. All right, I'm back. So y'all remember both Cornelius and Naim are in the bottom 2 for elimination. And it's too funny because both of their number ones are going to have to be the ones to break the news to them, whether that's if they stay or if they go. And we see Camille. Camille is so fake. This woman irks my soul. And Cornelius is unemotionally available for Camille. And generally speaking, y'all, I don't like to make blanket statements, but from what I see on this show, Cornelius is unemotionally, or he's emotionally unavailable to the women on this show. He's very robotic, very statuesque, like nothing about you seems human. Is there a soul? Is there a heart in there? Like Tin Man from The Wiz. Yeah, I'm not finding it, Cornelius. Okay, the way your forehead is shining, it's really giving me Tin Man vibes. There's no heart under there. You're emotionally unavailable for the women on this show. Most importantly, to Camille. Okay, so Camille is in tears. She is bringing on the drama. You know, I really don't want to do this. But you're going home. You're not ready to love, is what she ends up telling Cornelius. Cornelius, He seems unfazed. He seems indifferent. But then in his confessional, he says, it's a bittersweet thing because he'll miss Camille. And whenever he said he'll miss Camille, I just died laughing because I was like, there's literally no attachment. Anybody who watches this show knows that the couples mingle when the cameras are not around. The couples meet up. When you send somebody home, they still be trying to, attach a string. So it's like, hey, I know I didn't choose you, but we can still talk without the cameras, basically. So for Cornelius to say, he'll miss Camille. I'm like, you literally had no attachment. You wanted a way out from this woman. You wanted a way out from these women on the show. Nothing is giving that you're even interested in the women on the show. None of them at all. So Camille, she decides to do the most chivalrous thing, and she decides to send herself home because she says that there's nobody else there for her besides Cornelius. And y'all, let's talk about Camille. Let's talk about women like Camille real quick. Beautiful woman, okay? I think she said she had a master's. I think she might have said she had a PhD as well. Anyway, beautiful, smart, educated, brown. Okay, trigger. Anyway, Camille seems to be like a great woman on paper. However, she's been engaged 3 times. We don't know why those relationships didn't work out. If I had to guess, I would say it was because of her. But the entire time that we've seen her on this show, in my opinion, her energy has been hella pick me, especially when it comes to Cornelius. You found a way to basically divulge yourself into a man that doesn't even really want you. And even though he's not making efforts, you're trying to make chivalrous efforts that a man should be making, hoping that he would mirror your efforts in return, and he has yet to do so. For example, you chose him very early on, hoping that he would mirror your energy. He never did. You kept the same shit going. Embarrassing. Next, you bought him that necklace whenever we got to the retreat. To me, it was very pick me. It was a way to lock this man down, a way to make a statement and let him know how serious you were about the relationship, even though you still question how serious he is about you. You were doing it hoping that he would mirror. Lastly, you send this man home. He's unfazed about going home. And his immediate response isn't that he's going to miss you. His immediate response is that, I won't get to see you anymore. Oh, it's bittersweet. And then whenever you decide to do the most chivalrous thing that a man should do, which is send yourself home, making it seem like you're laying yourself on the line, he says, are you sure? He says, are you sure? So I hate that you have this pick me energy. It's so ugly because you have all of this confidence, all of this animosity when it comes to the other women in the house. We've seen her attitude be nasty, even more than Zadia. And I hate that Zadia and Newman have associated themselves with Camille for this brown girl clique, y'all. It is what it is. The shit was stupid to me, but the clique stuff is so annoying. And I feel like the eyesore, the negativity roots from Camille, but Zadia is the one to get bucked. So I'm like, girl, I guess you're gonna get the heat. So yeah. Cornelius says that his biggest regret is not making any other connections. Cornelius, you had all the time in the world to make any connections that you wanted to, but the fact of the matter is you're not interested in the women or the women in that house. Okay, so let's move on. We will move on. I don't think I took a picture of Zadia. I didn't. So Zadia and Naeem, they meet up and we find out that Naeem is safe. Who cares? So next we get into all of the couples and what they've been doing. So let's go couple by couple because really nothing else happened this episode besides Zaddy Body acting a fool. Ooh. So let's get into Shiloh and Phil. Phil is not pressed on you, Shiloh. I hate to say it. Phil has been coasting this entire season. He's been playing his cards right. I mean, honestly, if you think about the way that Phil is doing it, this is the way that the show is supposed to be played. You're supposed to keep all of your options open, and it's not until the very end, or at least by the retreat, that you choose your number one. But I feel like the flaw with Phil is that he's made this late connection with Sydney, and it makes me feel like all of the connections that he made before that was nothing but shallow. I mean, it's not impossible to think that way because you don't always meet your perfect match on a TV show. But I'm like, Phil, y'all, we're going to get into this situation. So They play a card game together. And again, y'all, I see a lot of the women, kind of like how I seen in Camille. Shiloh is making these efforts, hoping that her efforts are going to be mirrored back. She's putting herself on the line, hoping that he's going to match her energy, and he never does. So they're playing the card game. She chooses him. Okay. And she says, I just want you to know that I have to be honest, that I choose you. I want to leave here with you. He kisses her. No response. But y'all remember, Shiloh is very emotionally intelligent. So she peeped it ASAP. She was like, why was that so fast? Why was that so fast? Why was your response so quick? And he says that, a kiss would have been the best way to basically show her how he felt. But in his confessional, he says that he felt it was too soon to just tell her that was end all be all. And with that, I have to say, Shiloh, trust your gut. Trust your gut. Phil is waiting in the back wing for Sydney not to choose Frank or for Frank to choose Newman. That's exactly what he's waiting for. And if Sydney ends up not working out with him, you're plan B. I can see it plain as day. Phil is not pressed on you, and I really hope you get to see it. Charlotte, you can do much better than Phil, honestly. Okay, even though the people say you don't look 33 and you say you're 33, you can still do much better than Phil. So now, y'all, let's move on to Aisha and Dante. My first note was Aisha won. So while we're speaking about Aisha, let me go ahead and tell y'all what my thoughts are about the mess that is Zadia and Aisha. I feel like a lot of the editing that we've been seeing is Zadia going harder than Aisha. I think Zadia and Aisha have always had this beef. I just think Zadia has a nasty ass attitude because she's backed up by the clique that's the Brown Girl Squad. So all up until this episode, I felt like I had never seen a clip that justified Zadia being more, Zadia being a big villain like everybody else is saying. Now we see that's true. But y'all, this is where I really don't want to put too much stock, or this is why I didn't. Let me be clear. Let me start over. Okay. So from the beginning, I peeped the episode when the ladies were in the ladies' lounge. And that's when Aisha said some people need to shrink. Keep in mind, Aisha and Zadia had some of the same connections. So I felt like in that time, Aisha was feeling some type of way towards Zadia because she wanted Zadia to make a decision, because she knew that Zadia's decision would impact her choices. So that's where that hater word came from. Zadia and Aisha have always had tension. However, that doesn't change the fact that Zadia is more of a villain and looks like more of a villain because she definitely came at Aisha in a bitchy way. And Aisha comes in more of like a passive way. Okay. I really have to see it all, but y'all aren't going to tell me that Zadia was this way to Aisha from the beginning. She was bitchy to Aisha from the beginning, and there wasn't passiveness going both ways. I don't believe it. So anyway, that's my thoughts on that situation. Y'all disagree? Comment below. Disagree respectfully. We cool. So Aisha and Dante, they sitting down. And my first note says Aisha won, because in my mind, it was always a battle between Zadia and Aisha when it came to the men that they were feeling. So basically, Dante ends up taking Zadia aside. He tells her, you handled it the right way. Zadia again, not Zadia, Aisha again begins talking about Zadia, and I like how Dante shut down all the negativity. He basically told her, like, hey, we're not gonna talk about that right now. So it seems to be that Dante really is about love and light, like he told us at the beginning, but we gonna see. So anyway, it's clear Aisha and Dante are going to be a couple to make it to the end, because Dante is gonna have a conversation with Zadia, and we're gonna talk about that towards the end of the review of this show. So let's get into Frank and Newman. What this scene showed me is why you're a part of the Brown Girl Squad. Okay. Initially, I wasn't sure why she was a part of the Brown Girl Squad, because I felt like both Camille and Zadia had some sort of negative energy about them that I didn't think that Newman had. But after seeing the whole way she handled Walter, after seeing her pick me energy, I was like, This is exactly why. You may not be feisty, but you definitely are a pick-me, just like Camille. So she's on this date with Frank. Keep in mind, y'all, Frank is still trying to decide between Sydney and Newman. And ultimately, she tells Frank that she chooses him. Y'all, this is by default. Let me be real. Newman still had a very good chance with Walter, but I think there were a couple things affecting their relationship. For one, Newman does not want to have sex before marriage, where Walter does. Number two, because of that reason, I feel like Walter was already looking for a reason to end the relationship. And number three, Newman knew that she was the number two pick to Sabrina the entire time. So, in my opinion, I feel like Newman was trying to run away from rejection. So, even though you might have been feeling Walter more than Frank, you didn't want to handle the rejection by putting all your eggs in one basket with Walter, only to have him choose Sabrina. So ultimately, you decided to just take yourself out of that fight and say that you're going to choose Frank because for whatever reason, you think that your odds are better with Frank. So you just want to be chose. This is where the pick me energy comes from. So she tells Frank, I choose you. And she says, especially since things have shifted. And when she says things have shifted, she's referring to her and Walter. So Frank, I love his honesty. I feel like he handled this much better than Phil. In this episode, I was like, Frank, you actually seem like you have a real personality. Frank, you actually seem to be a little bit more cool than what I thought, instead of trying to be all GQ suave all the time. It's real annoying. Anyway, like I said, y'all, she chooses Frank. Frank honestly tells her, I'm still having a tough decision because there's another person in the mix, and that other person is Sydney. So Newman, she ends up saying in her confessional that she's not worried about it. All she's doing is waiting on Frank to choose her. And I'm like, girl, get it how you live. Get it how you live. I don't care. The next day is Zadia and Dante, but I don't want to talk about that just yet. Let's go ahead and talk about Sabrina and Walter, if I have a picture. Yes. Sabrina and Walter, y'all. I think it's pretty clear that this couple is solidified. They're together. I also find it pretty clear that they have smashed or are about to smash or something like that, because that's where that Zaddy comment came from a couple episodes ago. And I think that's also why Walter was trying to find a reason to kind of just end everything with Newman. He says to Newman, whenever you walked away from that pool, what else was I supposed to do? If you really wanted that relationship, her walking away from the pool wouldn't have been end all be all. So he goes on a date with Sabrina. And at this point, it's like they already boyfriend and girlfriend. They keep bringing up this storyline about Sabrina having a past history of being a dancer. And like I told y'all last week, the way we saw Walter's ex-girlfriend come on there with them long ass nails, you're not going to tell me that he has an issue dating someone who used to be a stripper. So I don't know why y'all keep talking about it. I think that's just to keep our minds curious, making it seem like y'all might not be together. But Walter ain't going to judge Sabrina. He ain't going to judge. As long as you bring them tricks to the bedroom, that's all he care about. So Walter says that Newman made his decision easy. I think, like I told y'all, he was already leaning one direction. She just confirmed what he needed, right? So again, they talk about the past. Nobody cares about that. But the issue at hand for Sabrina, because y'all can take this with a grain of salt, they're going to be together, is that Sabrina feels like she might have been the default choice because Newman walked away from the conversation between her and Walter. I don't think that that's the case. But Sabrina does end up saying that she hardly hears from Walter. So for her to be the chosen one and for her to, not really be talking to him as much as she wants, leaves me wondering who else he's probably talking to outside of this show, because it is very reasonable that the men come on this show, they date the women, and their connection still may not be on the show. So yeah, the other thing that she says that stuck out to me was saying that she wants to make sure that he continues to call her on the phone and that they continue to sneak kisses in between. So whenever she said sneak kisses, I felt like that was her way of saying for them to be cutting in the sheets. So yeah, this is our couple right here. Not surprised at all. Y'all gonna choose each other? Y'all gonna stay together? Nope. So now let's talk about Phil and Sydney. Phil and Sydney is another quick connection. Like I told you, I feel like Phil is doing the process right. But I feel like if your connections aren't really connections, what's the purpose in doing it at all? Because the way that he's able to, maneuver between Shiloh, between Sydney, even the way we saw him with Tisha, like, is really no different than what we're seeing here. I'm not seeing any real chemistry at all. I'm not. So Phil ends up opening up to Sydney about his mom passing and how he regrets not being able to give her children. We've seen him have the same conversation before. So, I mean, it's good that he opened up to her, but in the same breath, I don't think that it was anything that was unique to him and Sydney. I feel like it's a conversation that he probably often has because it's probably something that's always weighing heavy on his heart. So, he's telling Sydney, whatever you do, just know I'm here. They end up sharing a kiss. So the reason why I took that note and I said that Phil says he's here, that lets y'all know what I said earlier. Phil is waiting in the backfield for Sydney to make her decision. He is hoping that Sydney chooses him. If Sydney doesn't choose him, then he's going to go with Shiloh. And for that reason, Shiloh, you can do better than that, just like I said. So let's get into this. Let's get into this shit show that is Zadia. The shit show that is Zadia. And this explains perfectly why Zadia and Camille are friends or cousins, as y'all have been saying on the internet. I ain't heard nothing about it besides in these comments from y'all. So Zadia and Dante invites Zadia out, and from jump, her energy is bad. She looks mean. She looks stereotypically angry. And she says to Dante that she felt abandoned. She felt uncovered. She felt unprotected whenever she went into elimination or the ladies' lounge, and she found out that Aisha had gotten a massage. In my opinion, y'all, I feel like it was just very extra. It reminded me of whenever Kyra got upset with Jason last season and said to Jason, I don't feel like you handled me properly. I don't feel like you handled me with care. It's a game. He can still date who he wants to date. So what are you talking about? Handle you with care, uncovered, unprotected. You're using all these words to try to make it seem like he failed to do his duty as a man. He's not your man. So I'm just like, girl, bye. So just as I said to y'all, they can date who they want up until the end. Dante says that it's a two-way street. It could go the same way. He doesn't know what goes on with her and her dates. And then all of a sudden, her point becomes the fact that she didn't know that he was down there rubbing down Aisha's body. Girl, whatever. So Dante said, what was I supposed to do? Did you just want me to sit there and be your second fiddle? And that's whenever Aisha says in her confessional that it's not about being second fiddle. It's about playing your position or playing the instrument you're supposed to play. So I'm like, girl, if you can see it that way, then you should know. You should be fiddling, diddling, do. You should know that you are the fiddle, that you should be fine with him and Aisha. And whenever you go into those ladies' lounges, you're just going to be unprotected, uncovered. Okay. You're so dramatic. So she says that whatever he's saying is bullshit, and that, did you ever really care about me at all? This is her reaction whenever he says that he's feeling Aisha. And this is also one of those times where she jumps the gun and she says it for him because I guess she just didn't want to deal with having it come out of his mouth, right? And he says, yes, I am feeling Aisha. She says, did you ever care about me? So she gets mad. She leaves because Dante gets the last word. And I guess she can't handle the rejection. So she leaves. And whenever she's leaving, she's at the elevator hopping on the phone. How much y'all want to bet she was calling Camille? She was calling somebody to go off about Dante. And then something in her spirit told her, turn around. Don't lose this fight. Not knowing that it was going to make her look worse. So she turns around, but the food had already came out. You left dinner without even eating. I definitely would have had my plate. But anyway, she turns around. She wants to get the last word. And this is where you see these two pictures right here. She's standing up over Dante aggressively because that's what she's doing. Dante's sitting there calm as hell. And she says, I was really going to choose your ass, but you're ungrateful. I was going to choose you and all this other stuff. And she's pointing her finger in his nose and she touches him on the nose. There's no reason for that, Zadia. And even though I had said early on that I didn't see where all the dislike for you came from, This makes perfect sense. Just because I didn't see it doesn't mean that it wasn't there. I always felt like it was an editing flaw. The reactions from the other people on the show as to how they felt about Zadia didn't match what matched on screen. And it wasn't until this moment that I'm like, yes, you look stereotypical as fuck. And for this reason, you easily should have went home. You know, imagine if the tables were turned. Just last season, what I think it was last season, Ron, he sent Alexis home and he talked so bad to her. Never once did he put his finger in her face. Never once did he stand over her. So imagine if the tables were turned and this was a man. Zadia, this is why. This is why you're on the show. Eventually, there's always some point in time when you realize why somebody is 40 plus years old. And no shade, I'm not saying everybody should be in a relationship by 40. Everybody's calling isn't to be in a relationship. But I'm just saying, you get these women on the show who are hella confident. They have no flaws. They just can't find the right man. And then their toxic trait is revealed while being on the show. And Zadia's toxic trait is that she is the toxicity from what I can see. Zadia doesn't get her way. She doesn't know how to channel herself back. And she also doesn't know how to take accountability for the things that she does wrong, i.e. the conversation that she had with Dante last episode after the dinner table. She started getting aggressive with Dante in her words, because you can be aggressive in your words without being physically aggressive. I know people hate that term, but what she is acting like, the words that she's using, the way she's talking to people is aggressive, and it is what it is. So she was talking to Dante, and she couldn't even take accountability there. And then let's go ahead and go to the men's lounge because we're going to get back to Zadia. So then, y'all, we go to the men's lounge and everybody is talking about some of the mess that happened last episode. The same mess the ladies tried to talk to Tommy about, but he didn't want to hear about it. The mess between Aisha and Zadia. So Naim, he decides to be the one to explain to Tommy what has happened. So Naam says that, definitely some people had issues and Aisha was naming people specifically. And, that could be perceived as a threat if you're naming people specifically. So then Frank speaks up, and that's where I had to screenshot this picture of Frank. Frank is looking like you a damn lie. And Frank says that Aisha, yes, she named people specifically, but what she was doing was just explaining that this is a part of the process. And then that's whenever people start telling her, I'll F you up. So I think Frank is very level-headed and he's able to see it. Now, Naim, this was not the look, Naim. This was not the look at all. He speaks up on behalf of Zadia again. I don't know why you would think that Zadia's behavior is okay, Naim. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know any man who would side with drama unless y'all are already smashing. And that's the reason why you don't want to disagree. Who knows? So everybody goes in talking about their number ones. Walter says his number one is Sabrina. Dante and Aisha, they're solid. Naim and Zadia, Frank rolls his eyes. Frank cannot stand Zadia. Frank says that he's still having a hard time deciding between Newman and Sydney. And then you see Phil and his two are Shiloh and Sydney. Now, they talk about who's not ready to love. And when they say who's not ready to love, Dante goes back to explaining to everyone about the encounter that he had with Zadia when she pointed her finger on his nose, talking to him all aggressively. This was violence. This was violence. I'm going to call it what it is because this is inappropriate. And I might have changed my mind if she handled herself differently whenever it came to this elimination day. But no, this was just not it at all. So Dante is telling everybody what happened. And I'm glad he did. So they asked Naim, what do you think about the way Zadia was acting? And Naim says, I don't think anything. He said, I'm fine. I feel like those are two separate things. The way she treats me is different than the way she treats him. And the fact that he was able to separate this just tells me how bad he actually wanted to be with her. But also think about the same way she acted towards Dante. Like, is Zadia matching your energy, Naim? I don't know why you chose her. Honestly, we didn't even see a lot of screen time between Zadia and Naim. So whatever they have going on, I honestly can't even make an opinion on. Besides the fact that I could tell y'all that what Naim is saying is dumb. It's definitely biased, and he's not thinking straightly. Straight. So, Naim, he says that he can't even date Sydney based off her voice. And when he said that, I died laughing because I was like, she does have a squeaky voice. Walter, he actually names Newman in his bottom. He's like, I'm done with her completely. Like, send the girl home. He didn't say that, but by him naming her, that's the vibe I was getting. So now, y'all, we get to the elimination dates. And in the elimination dates, reset, we see Newman and Walter. And Newman says she feels like Walter didn't check on her. He didn't try hard enough. And Walter says, well, whenever you walked away from me at the pool, what did you expect? And in my opinion, y'all, I think two things can be true. I think that Walter was going to choose Sabrina anyway. I think Newman handled herself really poorly when it came to the retreat. And lastly, Walter was already looking for a way out. So I don't think it was going to work out. I think both of these people had their reasons for wanting to end the relationship. Newman was running away from rejection. So what he does tell her is that, we had deliberations. And, the men are saying that you were in everyone's bottom, that you hadn't really made a lot of connections, or your connections were falling off. However, your connection with Frank, y'all, when he said your connection with Frank, that was his way of saying you no longer have a connection with me. Your only connection is with Frank. So he tells her your connection with Frank kept you here, so you already loved. And we find out that Newman is staying, but just not with Walter. Okay. Now, y'all, let's get into Zadia. Look at the face. Zadia, you should be embarrassed for the way you acted during this date. You should be embarrassed for the way you acted at that damn dinner table speaking on Camille's behalf. You should have sat there and ate your damn food, like I said. So she's defensive from jump. And it's really ugly because she can't take accountability. You come there with an ugly ass attitude because you already know that the men have had conversations about you showing your ass. So anyway, she's smiling the whole time Walter mixed up the name. She's smiling the whole time Phil is asking her what's happening. She says, yes, I just had to give him a black mama talking to. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. You gonna try to write this off as a black mama talking to and make it seem cute? Girl, bye. And whenever Phil was telling you that you still have to have some sort of accountability that wasn't right, yada, 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 all of a sudden you're upset. No, I know what I did was wrong. Okay, well, if you know what you did is wrong, you should sit here and allow somebody to give you feedback. So I'm just like, girl, send her ass home. Phil couldn't even get the words out of his mouth before she tried to rush him through it and say, yeah, the men probably call me crazy. They probably call me this. What's funny is the men actually didn't call you crazy at all, sweetheart. What I feel like you did in this situation is you showed us a pattern of what you've been used to in your relationships, which you probably are typically called crazy. You probably are called crazy in your relationships whenever you have these moments, which is why you was trying to rush Phil through this process of sending your ass home. But luckily, Dante didn't call you crazy. He just explained exactly what you did from jump and allowed the men to sort their own opinions and figure out what they thought of you with that. So she ends up saying, okay, I'm not ready to love. And that's basically the end of Zadia. So Brown Girl Squad is no more. Newman is not going to last either. Lastly, y'all, Naim, he knows that Zadia got sent home. He has a conversation with Tommy. I really appreciate Tommy's transparency with Naim. He tells him, basically, you were Zadia's number 2, because if she was tripping over Dante that way, you have to ask yourself why. And when he said that, I was like, you're right. You're right. And Naim says that, he really didn't want to put too much fault on Zadia because he has been that person in situations before where he comes off a little aggressive. And when he said that, I was like, not a man coming off aggressive in his relationship. So you trying to give her benefit of the doubt? Yeah. Naim, do what you're going to do with that lady, but don't do it on my TV. I'm done with y'all. So Niam respectfully sends himself home because he says that he respects the process and he doesn't want to mess up any relationships or fake pursue. So with that being said, y'all, Niam goes home, Zadia goes home, Camille goes home, Cornelius goes home. Y'all, the good ones. I'm so glad that they all went home. I'm so tired of them. I'm so glad that they went home. The foolishness that they brought to this show, y'all can only imagine what the reunion is going to be like, okay? So, y'all know how we do brunch. It's not Sunday, but we're doing brunch on Tuesday, y'all. We're going to go ahead and get into Love and Marriage Huntsville reunion. But before we do that, if y'all enjoyed the review for Ready to Love and you know you're about to enjoy this review for Love and Marriage Huntsville, do me a favor and like the video. All right, y'all. Time for Love and Marriage Huntsville. This episode, we were accompanied by the mamas. Let's talk about mothers. We were accompanied by the mothers. So it starts out with them going on a break. When they go on a break, we see the Scott brothers in one room. We see Martell and Lewis in another room. And it seems as though Martell and Lewis have an alliance. They have an alliance based off the fact that nobody likes Tiffany, nobody really likes Lewis, and Martell is the villain of the show, coupled with the fact that Martell is cool with Lewis because he trains his son in baseball. So Martell is saying, I had to have your back, man. I had to have your back out there because remember, y'all, Marceau and Lewis were just having a debate over whether or not they could give people marital advice, being that they were only married for 11 months, or had only been married for 11 months. So the Scott brothers, they have opposing opinions. They in a room talking about it, and we definitely see where the line in the sand is drawn. I also feel like the Scott brothers knew not to go in that room with Martell after the break, after it was revealed that y'all would accompany him while he was with his mistress. Now I feel like this brotherhood or this secret society of doing fuck shit that y'all have together, y'all might want to distance yourselves. Marceau, Maurice, because Maurice, you sat up there and lied and said that you were never around whenever he was around Ariane. And then your brother said that was a lie. Your brother said y'all was around. And then Ariane took to Instagram and she said that was a lie and that you was in the club with a linebacker type girl. I don't know if that's true or not, but Ariane, what I will say about her in these Instagram posts, every year after year, she always acts like she's going to reveal information. She's not going to reveal information because she still wants to fuck with Martell. Okay. She wants to keep Martell's secrets, her secrets, until Martell no longer benefits her. And being that they have a child together now and she's not married to him, I don't see her telling anybody's business. So regardless of if Maurice was with a linebacker in the club, I feel like, yes, if he was with Kimmy, it was wrong. But if it was in 2015, like, I don't think they were married. So the way I feel about it, it was wrong. But Ariane, if you gonna come acting like you gonna spill some tea, I feel like you need to come a little bit harder than that. That's just the way I feel. Y'all tell me what y'all think in the comments about Ariane on Instagram, because I'm like, girl, goodbye. So anyway, we get back from the break, and now this is a ladies only conversation. So they show the flashbacks between Tiffany and Destiny and how their friendship got along or didn't get along throughout the season. And the main issue with Tiffany and Destiny was that Tiffany came on basically saying, oh yeah, I met you because your husband came to the Christmas party with another woman and I thought it was you, and did it on some messy shit, right? So Carlos, after showing all the flashback, Carlos says to Destiny, do you think that Tiffany is messy? And Destiny says, hell yeah, I think Tiffany is messy. Tiffany is feeling some type of way. I don't know why. The delusion. I definitely feel like Tiffany came on the show ready to make a bang, and she did. But whenever I saw her at this reunion, I honestly feel like she was a little bit more humble because of all of the internet shit. She really didn't speak as much as I thought she was going to. And I don't know. I don't feel like she tried to justify herself as much as she did on the show. I feel like, just as Marceau said, she's starting to see herself in the comments of others. So Mel, the way I felt this entire season, I always felt like Mel was trying to regulate conversations that her castmates would have with Tiffany. For whatever reason, I felt like she protected Tiffany more than she would protect Destiny or even Kimmy. Because in my opinion, Tiffany would always overstep boundaries. And whenever people came back to her to finish a conversation, Mel would always kind of regulate those conversations and how the conversation should be had. So Mel says in her opinion that Destiny's never gotten over the whole brunch thing at the birthday party. And yeah, I don't think she ever got over it either. I feel like there probably should have been a point where she got over it, because you make it seem like, this whole divorce was no big deal. You make it seem like it doesn't really bother you. Nobody cares about your sad story. Tiffany fake apologized for it, so you could have fake moved on, but she just didn't really want to. But I'm here for it, because honestly, I wanted somebody to light Tiffany's ass up the whole time she was on the show. I really wanted it to be Kimmy for talking about a kid, but somebody was gonna have to put their foot on gas. Absolutely. So Destiny says that she was never given the chance to get over what happened with her and Tiffany. And whenever she says that, in my opinion, I feel like she's saying that she was never given the chance to get over it because Mel kept inserting herself in those conversations that she could have with Tiffany. So Tiffany then says that she felt like she was judged by Destiny. Destiny asks, well, how have I judged you? Tiffany doesn't really answer the question. Tiffany cannot give solid evidence or solid examples of how she was judged. So because Tiffany felt all that pressure to come up with a lie, instead of making up an example of how she was judged, Tiffany then says, I don't understand why you're so effing snappy. Excuse me? And that's when Destiny calmly says, if I would have matched her energy, that would be an issue. And I was like, Destiny. I love the way Destiny said that so calmly, because in that moment, I felt like Destiny was simply saying, like, I'm doing you a favor. I'm going to chill out right now, because if I don't, I'm going to be drinking your tears on this stage, Karen. So again, Mel regulates the conversation again, and she starts saying something about Destiny and Tiffany. I'm not even listening at this point, because I feel like conversations can never just be had between Tiffany and Destiny, because Mel always has input. She always has to find a way to diffuse the situation, but it never really allows the situation to come to a resolve. It never really is so Tiffany can take accountability. It's always, I didn't really care for it. So I don't even remember what Mel said, because it didn't matter. So then Carlos brings up the fact that Tiffany was kind of just collateral damage between the fractured relationship between Mel and Destiny. And I was like, yes, Carlos, good observation. And we find out that Mel has not spoken to Destiny since they ended up rapping for the show. We know that because that's what Mel told us on the interview. Mel told us that whenever she's done with Love and Marriage Huntsville, she just has to be done with everybody from Huntsville, and she likes to retreat, go do what she need to do, because she needs to separate that. She feels like the show is very toxic for her. And girl, I agree. It's crazy that this has been an amazing show, but let's be real. If we think about your real life, it's been an amazing show off of your challenges in your marriage, your family, and everything else. So I understand you wanting to break away. Mel says that it's nothing personal. Just as I told y'all, she has to break away from the show. Tisha, specifically in her orange dress, she rolls her eyes. And Carlos is asking her, like, Tisha, where's this coming from? What do you have to say? And that's where Tisha says, well, I don't want to make an opinion. I don't want to say that. I don't want to make. No, you rolled your eyes. You did all that sign. You wanted us to visibly see that she was upset. Go ahead and say it with your chest. So that's where Tisha says, I don't think that Mel knows how to be a good friend. She says she feels like whenever Mel is up, she's up and she don't want to deal with nobody. And whenever Mel is going through stuff, that's whenever she wants to keep you around. Mel then explains that whenever she goes through stuff, she likes to retreat and be away from people. So how could that be true? And Tisha is then like, sounds good. Sounds good. I don't think that Mel is using these people in any way, shape, or form. I feel like this show is only as great of a show because of what Mel put together. So I think it's nice for Tisha to want to feel needed. I think that her writing off Mel to be a user, I guess just makes sense in her mind. I feel like Tisha just needs something to make sense, and that's what she's gonna stick beside. So Mel just simply says, I hate that you feel that way, and she leaves it at that. So now, y'all, we get into the mess that is Tisha and Kimmy. Y'all, I feel like out of all the beefs this season, I was probably the most tired of talking about Tisha and Kimmy, honestly. I feel like it's a beef that was brewing up since last season. I'm tired of talking about Tisha and Kimmy. So we're gonna wrap this up, y'all. Where did things go wrong with the relationship between Tisha and Kimmy? And that's where they both agreed that it was probably Mel. Tisha says that Mel tried to destroy her marriage, and that's where Kimmy says that she knows that Tisha felt some type of way because Kimmy still chose to continue to be friends with Mel. Kimmy then says that she defended Tisha on TV, regardless of her continuing her relationship with Mel. And that's where Tisha says, no, you didn't know, you never defended me. So Kimmy then explains that they both admitted to telling lies. There was a scene that they didn't show on TV. And Kimmy says to both Mel and Tisha, I need y'all both to stop making up lies about each other. And I don't want to talk about it no more. They both admitted to it. They both said, okay, you right. Mel remembers that situation. However, Tisha sits there on hush mode. I'm not understanding what it is that Tisha wants. I think Kimmy has the situation down like algebra. She knows the formula. She knows that whatever Tisha is asking for is unattainable. Whatever Tisha wants, she cannot possibly do. The fact of the matter is, Tisha wants you to do what she is too insecure to do herself, what she is too afraid to do, which is cut Mel off. Tisha wants people to do things that she's too afraid to do. And we can see that in the relationship that she has with her mom. That's why her mom is so much of a damn fool on this TV show. Tisha has the same thoughts and opinions that her mom does. Not about everything, but so many of these things you can tell that Tisha and her mom have sat down and had conversations about things, but it's never Tisha to run to the show and reveal it. It's always Miss Wanda. So, Kimmy, what Tisha is simply asking of you is to do the things that she won't do. So she wants you to have all the smoke with Mel while she won't, because she knows that Mel pays her bills. Okay. So anyway, that's that on Tisha, in my opinion. They talking about when have you gone hard for me. Tisha says that she went hard for Kimmy because she threw her damn bridal shower. That means nothing. And then Carlos, he ends up saying the way that Kimmy is, she can see right from wrong. Do you think that Tisha is too immature to handle those types of conversations? And the way that he asked that question was too funny to me, because I feel like, Carlos, we know what you think. You think what we think, that Tisha is too immature to have those conversations. So then Carlos ends up asking another good question. He says, would you and Tisha be friends if y'all were not related? And simply put, Kimmy says no. Tisha's feeling some type of way. Okay, fine. We don't have to be friends then. We could just be family. Okay, fine. Girl, no, you're exhausting. And that's simply what Kimmy says. I don't have the energy. You're exhausting. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Tisha and Kimmy. And then they bring out the mothers. This is where I forgot to upload a picture of Miss Wanda, because like I've been telling y'all, Miss Wanda has been, I kept saying that Miss Wanda was exchanging drama for bingo coins, or Miss Wanda was exchanging drama for Pump It Up and Spritz for her hair. But y'all, I was wrong. Apparently, Miss Wanda has been exchanging drama for, a glueless wig, for a lace closure sew-in. Miss Wanda's hair was looking good. Not Miss Wanda coming on the reunion with your hair looking better than Tisha. Girl, okay. So they showed the flashbacks, and Miss Van looked beautiful as well, but she always looks good. So Miss Van and Martell, they showed the flashbacks. And in Miss Van's opinion, she feels like Mel made the best decision for herself. She's just happy that her daughter's happy. Martell says that he's sorry for the way that things played out. And y'all, Martell always says the way things played out because he never wants to take sole blame for the demise of their family. He never does. So things played out. Martell, he says that in his opinion, Mel has implanted a negative opinion on the kids. That's why the kids are always saying, Daddy did this, Daddy got a girlfriend, Daddy did this, or Mommy told me Daddy did this. Mel cuts him off and she said, I've never told the kids that. The kids don't even know about the fifth kid yet, his outside baby. So she gives an example like, okay, since you want to lie on me, why is it that when we were driving past a restaurant, I'm driving by and their oldest daughter is hanging out the window screaming, "Get away from my dad! Get away from my dad!" And Mel turns around and you see Martell, his baby mama, and his son, and they're going to dinner. And her child ended up seeing that. However, since she's still a kid, she didn't put two and two together, and Mel still has not told her that. So that's whenever Carlos then says to Martell, you need to go ahead and tell them. He's saying, I think you should be able to take your time, but because you're on TV, you don't have as much time as you think. So you need to do something about that. And Martell's like, yeah, it just takes time. A recent picture came out over the weekend, and Martell basically copied Mel's entire family photo shoot with the Wakanda Forever background and the chair. And he had the fifth baby in the picture. With the 4 kids from the original Holt squad. And we do know that they now know about the 5th kid, but nobody in that family photo shoot looked happy or excited to be there. So Martell, you very calculated. I wish you would have just done a different photo shoot, but whatever. We know they now know about the 5th kid. So whatever, good for you. Now we talk about Wanda. Wanda comes out, y'all, and she always has to bring something scandalous from social media. I swear that is her only job, to bring up scandalous topics from social media. And, Wanda is just saying, I was trying to give Mel advice. I was hoping that Mel would listen to me. And that's where Ms. Van says, why would Mel listen to you? Wanda, she's saying some words that are inaudible. Wanda ends up saying something about, why would she listen to you? You need to be telling your daughter what not to do in the bedroom with them sex tapes. And whenever she says sex tapes, everybody's face was immediately embarrassed, immediately annoyed, because they knew that the conversation was going to turn to Miss Van and Mark Scott, another one of their brothers. I'm pretty sure it was Mark, but I'm going to just say one of the Scott brothers just in case I got that wrong. So Tisha then immediately speaks up because, like I told y'all, Tisha and Wanda have conversations about the other people on the show. However, Tisha is better at social cues, and Tisha also does not have the confidence to say everything that comes to her mind. So Tisha tries to clean up the mess that her mama just did and says, well, I try to tell her to stay out the comments. If you didn't hear it come from one of us, then you shouldn't say it. So they say that it's a lie. It's a lie that Mel's mom has a sex tape with one of the Scott brothers. I don't even know why this is a conversation. I don't want to hear nothing about nobody's mama having a sex tape out here. I don't think it's true. I may have heard of it, but I never heard anybody really spend time speaking on it because, I don't want to see that. I don't want to think about that. I'm good on it. Okay. So then they asked her if she ended up having a relationship with one of the Scott brothers. I believe it was Mark Scott, as I said. And she says, no, they were just friends. Mel is saying, no, they were just friends. They would travel to see each other. And that's when Marceau just speaks up. And Marceau is like, let's be real. Like, you would travel hours to go see him. And we all know the truth. And it most definitely was a relationship. And when he says that, no one disagrees. So the way I feel is like, let that lady do what she gonna do. If she want to call that man her friend and introduce him to the grandchildren, and the grandchildren know him as Mr. Charlie, let that man be Mr. Charlie. Because that's what a lot of them old ladies do. They bring around a man, he's just a friend. They never be in a relationship after a certain age, and the grandkids, they grow up knowing Mr. Charlie. Okay, I knew a Mr. Charlie. But anyway, that was that. Now let's get to Wanda and Kimmy. Y'all, Wanda is just tiring, okay? The topics of Tisha and Kimmy in my mind was just tiring. That's why part 3 to me was just like, a drag. So Wanda, she says that Kimmy is a snake because she feels like Kimmy is two-faced. Tisha, she felt like Kimmy disrespected her mom at Black restaurant when she was saying, tell me why, tell me the reason, tell me how. Y'all remember that? She kept saying, tell me how. And she told her to be quiet. I don't think she told her to shut the F up. She told her something like, you need to shut up. So Kimmy only has a few chances, is what Wanda says. And Kimmy says, your mom needs to learn how to talk to people respectfully. She says, you only have a few chances to talk to me crazy before I match your energy, is basically what Kimmy says. Kimmy, at this point, does not have the capacity to handle Tisha and her mama, and I wouldn't. Ain't no way in this world I would have that much patience for a damn in-law. Okay. You're not blood. We do have to get along sometimes, but the amount of patience that y'all are requiring from her, you would think that she was literally like your blood sister, because I absolutely would not. No way in hell. So Tisha says that Kimmy should have supported her. I don't know exactly what she was talking about in what situation, but she says that she wished that Kimmy would have told her, forget what everybody's saying, that man loves you. Again, Tisha is blaming other people for not fulfilling her insecurities. You want Kimmy to make you feel more secure in your relationship, is what I got from that. Because why is it that you would have expectations for Kimmy to refuel your insecurities when it comes to your marriage? It sounds to me like that's something that you should have a discussion with your husband about, but that's just me. Marceau says that, you know, social media is a dangerous thing because then you begin to see that person through the comments of others. And I definitely see how that's true. Like I told y'all in part one of the reunion, I always felt like Mel would have ended up leaving Martell eventually. However, I think it just sped up the process, being that everybody is seeing you on TV, you're seeing things on social media, so on and so forth. Tisha, her insecurities have grown, as Marceau has told us, because she's starting to see herself through the comments of what we say on social media. It's bad, sis. Do the work. So then they go to break, and Martell is trying to argue with Mel again. Mel is saying, you know, make him a better man, Carlos. And Martell says, yeah, I am going to be a better man, just not with you. Who cares? Tired of y'all arguing. We done seen it for the whole season. Then they talk about how he doesn't have her phone number. They bicker back and forth. We find out that they are getting another season. So it's good to hear. I wonder what this next season is going to be like, especially being that Mel is just so drained with the Huntsville mess. Destiny, are you going to come with some tea or nah? Are you going to come with some tea or nah? Will the Whitlows come back? I really want to know what this next season is going to be like. And then Jalen comes out with a bottle of chocolate champagne. I'm trying to get my hands on some. I went to the website and they were all sold out. But anyway, Jalen comes out. He's wrapping his arms around Destiny. They're joking. And I actually saw a picture of them and it looked like they were on vacation. So I don't know if they took like a family vacation or if they went on like a play date, but I'm not here for it. Anyway, Jalen's joking and they all toast to another amazing season, y'all. So part 3 reunion to me was probably, I would have to say, the worst of them all. And take that with a grain of salt because this was an amazing reunion. I think Carlos asked amazing questions, but I don't feel like part 3 should have been the ending. We could have got the mamas out of the way in part 1. The mamas and the Whitlows could have been on their merry way in part 1 because, you know, I'm good on them. But all in all, y'all, I think it was a good season. I'm excited to talk to y'all about it next year. I wonder how long it's going to be. I wonder if it's going to be like another 6 months because I feel like On Network be working real fast on these shows. Okay. So, sorry, y'all. I'll try to cut that out. So, y'all, another announcement before I let y'all go. I will be reviewing Portia's Family Matters today as well. That will be a video premiere sometime around lunch. So I hope y'all get a chance to check that out. And if y'all don't, and I won't see y'all until the top of the new year or next week, I hope y'all have a very Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, whatever it is you celebrate, y'all. And I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.